Have you ever wondered if there's more to the spiritual realm than what we can see? Have you ever been tempted to explore different paths in search of a deeper connection with God? What if those paths led you to the brink of death and back? This is John's story, a man who took a dangerous journey into the heart of the spiritual realm using psychedelics, and what he encountered changed his life forever. This video explores the dark side of spiritual exploration and the overwhelming power of God's grace. Make sure to stay until the end for John's powerful message and share your thoughts in the comments below. A man named John, who was deeply involved in his faith, began to question his beliefs after 2.5 years of intense religious practice. He had witnessed miracles and felt the power of the gospel, but he began to wonder if there might be other ways to connect with God. He was troubled by the fact that some people seemed to struggle despite their faith, while God had worked wonders in his life. This led John to consider trying psychedelics as a means of gaining a deeper understanding of the spiritual realm. John had a history of using psychedelics before finding his faith and believed that they had taught him valuable truths about himself and the universe. However, he had always seen them as distinct from his religious beliefs. The idea of using psychedelics to deepen his faith was sparked when he came across information online about a historical sect of Christianity that had used mushrooms for spiritual purposes. This thought lingered in his mind for several months. John rationalized that because he was now spiritually awakened and aware of the truth, he could use psychedelics to explore the spirit realm and uncover any potential lies that might exist. He believed that this knowledge would help him better understand and address the doubts of those he ministered to. One day, John went to a friend's house to record music. His friend, who sold drugs, offered him some psychedelic mushrooms. Despite feeling apprehensive, John decided to take them. He was experienced with psychedelics and believed he could handle the effects. However, this experience proved to be different. As the effects intensified, John felt a sense of dread and darkness envelop him. He began to feel intense pressure in his chest and struggled to breathe. He tried to maintain a positive mindset, but the feeling of darkness persisted. John's wife arrived and found him in distress. He was unable to explain what was happening and could only ask her to pray for him. Back at home, he found himself slipping in and out of consciousness, feeling as if he were dying. John entered a spiritual realm where he felt trapped and helpless. He found himself in a giant hand, surrounded by demons on one side and a veiled version of the kingdom of heaven on the other. Below him was a dark abyss that he knew represented hell. He was terrified as the demons accused him of trespassing into their realm and consuming from their table. John pleaded for God's mercy, but he felt exhausted and overwhelmed. He realized that he had made a grave error and was facing the consequences of his actions. At one point, he surrendered to God's hand, feeling himself slip away. Then, he felt a renewed urge to fight for his life, for the sake of his family and the people he was meant to help. As he fought, John received bursts of breath from God, each one a temporary reprieve from the suffocating feeling of death. Then, a group of angelic beings appeared and began praying for him. The shadow of the cross appeared, drawing the attention of all present, and Jesus emerged from the kingdom of heaven, declaring John as his own. John returned to his body and underwent a violent purging, ridding himself of the negative energy he had absorbed. He found himself back in the spiritual realm, now in a brighter, more heavenly place. Jesus, with a look of love and forgiveness, greeted him and they toured heaven together. John felt ashamed and undeserving, noticing the disappointment of the heavenly host. Overwhelmed by the intensity of the experience and the weight of his actions, John begged God to allow him to simply worship. He was transported to the lowest level of heaven, where he spent time in humble adoration. Eventually, Jesus returned, washing away his condemnation and offering forgiveness. John was then shown revelations about the nature of heaven, earth, and the spiritual realm. The influx of information was so overwhelming that he pleaded with God to stop, fearing that he would be destroyed by the sheer intensity of it all. He was sent back to his physical body, realizing that the limitations of reality served as a protection from the overwhelming power of the spiritual realm. The experience left John shaken, but ultimately filled with a profound sense of peace and joy. He realized the depth of God's mercy and forgiveness, especially in the way he had received each breath as a gift during his spiritual ordeal. John's perspective on psychedelics shifted dramatically. He recognized that they offered a deceptive glimpse of the spiritual realm, filled with just enough truth to be alluring, but ultimately leading to entrapment. He saw the stark contrast between the pure and joyful encounters he had with God through prayer and fasting, and the unsettling, dirty feeling that always accompanied his psychedelic experiences. John's fear of psychedelics was replaced with a firm conviction that they were a dangerous path, leading people away from true spiritual connection. From that point forward, John dedicated himself to warning others about the deceptive nature of psychedelics. He urged people to seek true spiritual connection through a relationship with Jesus Christ, the only path that leads to genuine freedom and life. John's story is a powerful reminder that the search for spiritual truth can lead us down unexpected paths, some more dangerous than others. While his experience with psychedelics was terrifying, it ultimately brought him a deeper understanding of God's mercy and the importance of seeking truth through a genuine relationship with Jesus Christ. What are your thoughts on John's story? Have you ever had experiences that challenged your faith or led you to question your beliefs? Share your thoughts and comments below, and let's continue this important conversation. And if you know someone who might benefit from hearing this story, please share this video.